Hi, we're Group 5. I'm Mackenzie Resewehr.
I'm Sara Haugland.
I'm Fussell.
I'm Kayla, McCullough.
And I'm Clements.
Hi, I'm Madi.
Hello, and welcome to our presentation over our findings for the Women's Resource Center. This is the team you will hear from today. We have spent the semester researching and are eager to share our findings.
The Women's Resource Center started in 1975 from an initial goal to help women in the Cleveland County area. When it was founded, it was the first of its kind in Norman in the state of Oklahoma, and to this day is the only organization that provides its specific type of services to Cleveland County. The Women's Resource Center believes that women have the right to live in safety, to be treated with dignity, to make choices, and to hope. Since 1975, the Women's Resource Center has helped over 7,500 men, women, and children who have been victimized by domestic and sexual violence and/or stalking. Since its initial start, the Women's Resource Center has grown to be a resourceful, well-rounded organization for victims of domestic and sexual violence. It is open to shelter for victims to stay at, as well as a rape crisis center, which has helped over 550 individuals receive the care and treatment they need. Additionally, the Women's Resource Center has a satellite office, which is where its prevention education, counseling, and other client support programs are run out of. While the Women's Resource Center is a hardworking organization with a clearly demonstrated track record of impact, it is always looking for ways to improve so that it might better fulfill its mission. One area that is particularly concerned about is the gap between the perception of its name and the inclusivity it seeks to integrate as a reflection of what is happening in society as a whole. The Women's Resource Center is a resource for anyone over the age of 13 who is affected by domestic or sexual violence or stalking, but it does not feel that the public is aware of this inclusivity. This is concerning for them because they want to make more of an impact and serve more victims, but they cannot do that if those victims do not feel welcomed. It is also concerning because as the younger generations rise up, they will become the source of income for nonprofits as a whole. And since these younger generations are more inclusive, they may be hesitant to give to a seemingly non-inclusive organization like the Women's Resource Center. This leads us to a central research question. Should the Women's Resource Center undergo a rebranding to better reflect the diverse clientele it serves? This rebranding could consist of a name change, logo change, or mission statement change. All of our research was centered around finding out the answer to this question.
Now we will go into some of the research methods we conducted, starting with our secondary research. We did a lot of secondary research on the Women's Resource Center, and I'm going to hit some of the high points from our three main categories of research: research on the organization, research on the situation, and research on their key publics. One of the most important findings about the Women's Resource Center as an organization is that it is the only resource center of its kind in Cleveland County. They also heavily focus on prevention education within Cleveland County. As a whole, the Women's Resource Center is dedicated to continually meeting the needs of the community they are serving and providing those who need help out of domestic violence situations. As mentioned earlier, the situation we are researching for is that the Women's Resource Center is interested in potentially undergoing a rebrand. It is important to them that they promote inclusivity, but it is also important to them that they still value their organization's history, and it was initially founded to assist women in domestic violence situations. A nonprofit rebrand is a huge undertaking, but if the Women's Resource Center is ready for it, this is a great time for them to reevaluate their entire branding strategy. And for publics, we were able to identify 5 different key publics for the Women's Resource Center, and we believe that they play a crucial role in their success. These 5 publics are volunteers, so those who donate their time to serve the Women's Resource Center; staff, so people who are paid and work for the Women's Resource Center full-time; donors or funding agencies, which help the Women's Resource Center function by providing the money they need to provide their basic services; the board of directors, who oversee all big changes that the Women's Resource Center seeks to make; and the victims that they serve.
For primary research, we conducted a focus group, in-depth interviews, a survey, and content analysis specifically focusing on the platform Facebook. For the focus group, our main objective was to gain primary research and a general understanding of community members' perception of the Women's Resource Center. The main research questions we used to guide the focus group were: would a rebrand of the WRC have a positive or negative impact on its perception in the Norman and Cleveland County communities? Specifically, how would changing the name and logo affect the public's perception, and what are the possible consequences? When creating our focus group guide, we wanted to learn about each participant's experience, knowledge, attitudes, and behaviors regarding the WRC. The general questions created for the focus group were aimed towards getting a perspective of the WRC from those who did not have previous knowledge of the WRC. After conducting the focus group, we analyzed that 3 main themes had emerged. Participants were very enthusiastic about the education programs provided in schools by the WRC. Participants felt that the WRC has much potential, but it has not been reached yet, and also felt that the WRC could be much better advertised. Overall, the majority of the participants had only heard about the WRC in passing but had never directly seen advertising material from the organization. There were 2 male participants in the focus group, and they provided a unique perspective. Both males stated that they would not approach the WRC if they were in need of help because they feel like it is geared towards women. Overall, the findings from the focus group raised concern for the WRC. In order to be a successful organization, you must have clients, but there's no way to get clients in the door if they are unaware of the services you provide. Also, the entire population you serve does not feel welcome to receive your services. There is a missed opportunity to expand the amount of people you help. For the in-depth interviews, our main objective was to gain primary research about the WRC from staff members. The main research questions we used to guide the in-depth interviews were: what are the WRC's staff opinion on a potential rebrand of the organization? Would a rebrand of the WRC have a positive or negative impact on its perception in the Norman and Cleveland County communities? And specifically, how would the name and logo affect the public's perception, and what are the possible consequences associated with a rebrand? Major themes that emerged from the in-depth interviews with different staff members were if the organization is ready for a rebrand, the pros and cons of a rebrand, and the need for more space. One of the biggest concerns with the name change and logo change is finding a name and logo that help reach the goal of being more inclusive. Overall, we feel that the staff at the WRC is mentally ready for a rebrand and name change, but not necessarily physically and financially prepared to take this leap.
Next, we'll move on to the survey that our group conducted throughout the course of this semester. We partnered with the rest of the class and sent out a survey to the Norman and Cleveland County communities. The main objective in conducting this survey was to gain more primary research from the Norman and Cleveland County community members about their perceptions and knowledge of the WRC. The research questions that guided this survey included: what is the general Norman community's base knowledge of the Women's Resource Center? How does the general Norman community currently perceive the Women's Resource Center? And how likely is the general Norman community to interact with or seek services from the Women's Resource Center if needed? In order to answer these questions, the survey was broken down into 3 main sections: an awareness section, a reputation and perception section about the Women's Resource Center, and a section about social media usage. The survey received 594 complete responses in a 12-day period. 112 of these responses came from codes that were assigned to our group out of the class. 80% of respondents were female, and the majority were white. Each section used an interval level measurement. For example, Likert scale was used most often. Next, we will look at the content analysis section. We went ahead and we were assigned to the Facebook post of the Women's Resource Center for the spring of 2019. The content analysis of the Facebook page looked at the content and engagement of each post that they posted during this time period. This means specifically looking at the use of images and hashtags, if they were used, and whether how many likes, shares, and comments there were on each post, if a post had any of those 3 categories. Next, the population size for the Facebook page is 4,225 people. This is as many people who like and follow the Women's Resource Center's Facebook page. The unit of analysis for the content analysis was each individual Facebook post because the WRC is creating these. And then finally, the purpose of conducting the content analysis was to determine the effectiveness of the posts and the overall reach that the Women's Resource Center Facebook page has. Next, to move on.
Okay, and these are our overall findings that we found for the Women's Resource Center. For awareness, we found that there is a disconnect in the Norman community between the amount of people who have heard the name Women's Resource Center and those who actually know the work that is done. Women and LGBTQIA+ residents are also more familiar than men and non-LGBTQIA+ residents when it comes to knowing that the WRC exists and the services that they provide. If the Women's Resource Center wants to be inclusive of all gender identities, as well as increase awareness for the services they provide, it is important to take both of those factors into consideration when doing a rebranding process. The perception and attitude of the Women's Resource Center from respondents was that the WRC is geared more towards women than men. Some survey participants felt that not only does the Women's Resource Center not serve men, but that its perception of and attitude towards men is negative. Although the Women's Resource Center is already willing to serve anyone who's in that situation, and the fact that this is not a commonly understood fact hinders the WRC from helping everyone who is affected. Survey participants also said that they believe members of the LGBTQ+ community are likely to seek out services from the WRC, but that the WRC has a long way to go in truly reaching and supporting the LGBTQ+ community. If the Women's Resource Center wants to be more inclusive, it needs to focus on being intentional about reaching out to the LGBTQ+ communities in the Cleveland County area and serving them just as well as any other client. For inclusivity, the Women's Resource Center is open to anyone who needs its services, but that is not the perception with a name that specifically addresses women. If the Women's Resource Center wants to increase its services to men and the LGBTQ+ communities, it should consider changing its name like the survey participants suggested and launching an awareness campaign to inform people of who they truly serve. And for people likely to pursue the WRC as it currently exists, respondents said that it is still making an impact in the community, and a majority of survey participants felt like it is a welcoming and helpful place. The Women's Resource Center can capitalize on this goodwill by reaching out to those who are already favorable to the Women's Resource Center and work with them to rebrand into a more inclusive resource. For our findings on the rebrand, females were significantly more likely than males to view the mission statement as inclusive. A point was made during our focus group that the mission statement seems to lean to only serving women. If the Women's Resource Center wants everyone to feel like they are welcomed by the organization, it might consider changing its mission statement to reflect that. The logo was viewed as being more appealing, up-to-date, and inclusive by the older audience, which was considered baby boomers, than the younger generations that took the survey. If the Women's Resource Center wants to appeal to the younger age bracket of potential donors, it might consider revamping its logo. And we want to note that there was not an equal number of participants from each generation, so the data might be skewed, but it is still worth looking into. And for desired behavior, the majority of people in the Norman community said they would be willing to volunteer their time at the Women's Resource Center, and when asked if a rebrand or a logo change would affect their volunteering patterns, it was not considered to be an issue. And finally, our findings for the communication and donations. The Women's Resource Center should begin to put most of its focus on their Facebook and Instagram platforms because survey respondents said that they would most likely engage with the WRC on these social media channels. The WRC should also gear their social media posts to be more volunteer-oriented, link to a personal story by having narratives, and not share as many pictures or videos on posts because these methods significantly generated more comments, likes, and shares. For donations, the most preferred way survey respondents said they would donate money to the Women's Resource Center was in person at an event, followed by using the organization's website. The WRC can use this information to begin to hold more events in general or fundraising events that people can attend and donate at.
What we suggest. Based on our findings throughout the research process, we have compiled a list of suggestions for the Women's Resource Center to consider when targeting their key public. It is clear that women are being targeted by the Women's Resource Center. Members of the LGBTQ community are aware of the WRC and the resources that they provide. According to the survey results, men are unlikely to seek help from the Women's Resource Center. Additionally, our findings yielded several ideas concerning suggestions for channels and the media. Through our focus group, a suggestion was raised about TV advertising, making a high-quality video geared towards showcasing the Women's Resource Center and the services it offers to help raise brand awareness across Cleveland County. Staff members mentioned during the interviews that there have been opportunities in the past to attend trainings and conferences, but that those opportunities are no longer funded because of budget cuts. It is necessary for the WRC to follow through more with staff development. The heads of each department need to communicate more to ensure that each department is on the same page when it comes to organization-wide actions and issues. The Women's Resource Center needs to be much more prevalent in their social media communications. When it comes to social media, the Women's Resource Center needs to be consistent across all of the platforms like Facebook and Twitter. The WRC should shoot for a goal of followers and likes to gain on social media platforms by a designated time. This will help in being consistent and driving up participation on the pages. It would be a good idea to select a theme for the posts and content. This could be alternating between posting a picture and a graphic, only using a certain color scheme, or having a similar phrase or hashtag in each caption. It would be ideal to post at least 2 times a week if the content is available. Being active on social media gives your followers a reason to follow you. With that being said, based on our findings throughout the research process, these suggestions would help with the potential rebranding of the Women's Resource Center.
Thank you for allowing us to work with the Women's Resource Center this semester. We hope that our findings help with a potential rebrand of the organization.